Aisha Grant huddled on a cracked Los Angeles sidewalk, her tattered backpack a shield against the February chill. At 40, her wiry frame bore the weight of years on the streets, her clothes patched, her hands rough from scavenging. Tonight, February 25, 2025, she'd been turned away from Hope Haven, the city's largest shelter, by Ronald Baxter, its gruff manager. "No troublemakers," he barked, slamming the door as residents watched in silence. Aisha was used to it, Baxter's sneers, the whispers of crazy lady from those she passed. She'd once had a home, a life, but addiction and loss had stripped it away. Now, she was a ghost, invisible to all but the cold. But tonight, tucked in her bag, a letter waited, one that would turn her exile into triumph. The streetlight flickered as Aisha dug into her backpack, hunger gnawing at her. Amid crumpled wrappers, her fingers brushed an envelope unmarked, her name scrawled in elegant ink. Curiosity overpowered fatigue as she tore it open under the dim glow. Inside were 2 sheets, a legal document, thick with text, and a handwritten note. Her breath caught as she read, "Aisha, my lost child, Hope is yours now. Margaret." Hope, the philanthropist who died last month, had left her something. The document was a will, naming Aisha Grant sole heir to Hope Haven. Her heart raced. Margaret had helped her years ago, a lifeline in her darkest days. She sank against the wall, hands trembling. This wasn't just a shelter, it was her redemption. Sleep eluded Aisha as the will rested beside her, its words a lifeline in the dark. She'd met Margaret a decade ago, a shivering wreck begging outside a cafe. Margaret, a silver-haired woman with a gentle smile, had bought her soup, listened to her story, addiction, a lost job, a spiral no one else cared to stop. "You're stronger than this," Margaret had said, slipping her cash and a card for Hope Haven. Aisha had clawed her way clean with that help, but relapse had sent her back to the streets. She'd never known Margaret owned the shelter, never dreamed she'd remembered her. Now, with this gift, Margaret had seen her worth when no one else did. Aisha clutched the note, resolve sparking. Baxter's cruelty would end tomorrow. Dawn crept over Los Angeles as Aisha gathered her things, the will tucked safely in her bag. She trudged to Hope Haven, her steps heavy but sure. No more begging tonight. The shelter loomed ahead, its faded sign a mocking promise. Inside, Baxter prowled the common room, barking at residents over spilled coffee. "Out, Grant!" he snapped when she shuffled in, his sneer cutting deep. Aisha ignored him, her plan solidifying. She'd overheard a staff meeting tonight. Her moment. She lingered outside, scavenging cans to pass the day, but her mind raced. Each of Baxter's jabs fueled her fire. As dusk fell, she washed her face in a public fountain, whispering, "For you, Margaret." It was time to reclaim her place. The staff meeting convened in Hope Haven's cramped common room, a space of chipped tables and dim lights. Baxter stood at the front, his cheap suit wrinkled, ranting about rules to a weary crew, 6 staff and a dozen residents. "No slackers here," he barked, smirking at their nods. Aisha slipped in, unnoticed, her bag clutched tight. She watched Baxter mock her from afar, waving a broom like a taunt. The room buzzed with his plans to tighten control, oblivious to her presence. As he wrapped up, she stepped forward, her voice cutting through. "Hold on." Heads turned, confusion shifting to sneers. Baxter grinned. "Back for scraps, Grant?" Aisha stood tall, pulling the will from her bag with unshaken calm. She unfolded it slowly, placing it on a table. "Read this," she said, her tone firm. Baxter snatched it, his smirk fading as he scanned the text. Silence fell, broken only by the hum of the city outside. "This says you own Hope Haven," he choked, face whitening. "Margaret Hope's heir." Aisha nodded. "She chose me. It's mine now." Gasps rippled. Some knew Margaret, a saint to the streets. Baxter laughed, a brittle edge to it. "You? A bum? This is nonsense." Aisha crossed her arms. "Call your boss. It's real." Phones emerged, whispers escalating as the truth hit. She'd turned their refuge upside down. Panic swept the room as calls flew to the shelter's board. Baxter's bravado cracked. his suit sagging against Aisha's resolve. A lawyer, Miss Lopez, arrived quickly. Her briefcase snapping open, she reviewed the will, then Margaret's records, letters, a trust tied to Aisha's name. "It's legitimate," Lopez said, handing over proof. "Miss Grant owns Hope Haven." Baxter's jaw dropped, the staff and residents reeling. Aisha stepped to the table's center, her voice rising. "Ronald Baxter, you're fired. Get out," he sputtered, red-faced, but she cut him off. "You've kicked us out, starved us of hope. No more." Residents cheered, some filming as Baxter grabbed his coat and stormed out. "You'll ruin this place," he yelled, but Aisha just smiled. With Baxter gone, Aisha faced the stunned crowd. "This isn't a prison," she said. "It's a home for all of us." She outlined her vision. More beds, hot meals, a voice for residents. Staff who'd stayed clapped, some filming as Baxter's exit hit Twitter. #shelter, Queen trending fast. Residents lingered, drawn by the shift, and Aisha welcomed them. "Watch us heal," she told them, handing Lopez the will to secure her claim. She stayed late, sketching plans, counseling, job help. The staff rallied, a community reborn. She wasn't just their owner, she was their kin. Days later, Hope Haven thrummed with change. Aisha fired 2 guards tied to Baxter's rules, hiring residents she'd known on the streets, survivors like her. She hung Margaret's photo in the hall, a tribute to her grace. The shelter opened its doors wider, beds filling with those Baxter had barred. Hot soup flowed freely. Twitter buzzed with #Hope Reborn, clips of her takeover going viral. Reporters swarmed, but Aisha kept it real. "This is for the lost." She walked the halls, comforting faces she'd once shared curbs with, her presence a balm. The refuge she'd inherited now shone, a testament to what compassion could build. Weeks later, Aisha stood by a shelter window, Los Angeles' skyline twinkling beyond. The common room hummed with life, diverse voices laughing, beds warm with rest, a haven Baxter never allowed. She'd kept Margaret's dream alive, turning Hope Haven into a true sanctuary. Baxter had begged for his job, ostracized after his fall, but Aisha ignored him. She didn't need him. From a woman on the streets to the Queen of Hope, she'd proven her worth. As she traced Margaret's name on the photo, Aisha smiled. Society had cast her out, but now they sought her shelter, her haven, her rules, her legacy.